Now let's turn our lens on the governorship election that's coming up this Saturday, as Nigeria attempts to rise from the ashes of the presidential ballot that's left the country ominously riven with divisions and protests. How is the governorship poll likely to go? Well, as they say in this country, let's watch and see. Meanwhile, as that new battle looms, we'll do what we always do, which is attempt to get the governorship candidates to put their policy proposals and their best foot forward. As you may know from past history, Nigerian politicians tend to offer unusually sketchy proposals, and those who manage to put forth a whole raft of them are often criticized for trumpeting unrealistic ideas. So in that regard, how is the APC governorship candidate in Rivers State, Tonye Cole, staking his place in the great race? Well, let's hear from the man himself, Tonye Cole, the APC governorship candidate in Rivers State. He's in Port Harcourt, and he joins me now live from there. Mr. Cole, thank you very much indeed for joining us. A busy day for you. You were traveling, but you made it, so we appreciate that very much. And this is your second outing for the governorship position in Rivers State. Tell us why the people of Rivers State should vote for you as governor.
Thank you, Charles. And again, it's always good to be on a rise and to speak to the people of Rivers State. First and foremost, like you rightly said, it's the second outing. But this time, there's something different about the atmosphere in Rivers State. I have met people that are despondent, very high unemployment, a high rate of cultism, a high rate of teenage pregnancies, a very high rate of poverty, and very little in terms of human capital development from the government of the day. And so I have seen a frustrated group of people who are looking for something different. And it is that breath of fresh air that we're bringing onto the table. I love the way you started this by saying that there are a lot of sketchy proposals. We have a different prospect for the people of Rivers State. And one of the things that we have been able to do is bring hope to the table.
Well, that's very interesting indeed. And I wonder what it has taken for you personally to get to this point, because there's been everything thrown at you, including threats to your life.
Absolutely. And so we've been through threats to life, we've been through disruptions of rallies, we've been through all sorts of character assassinations, we've been through court cases, we've been through a lot, but we're still here standing. You know, I ended with the last sentence saying that we have brought hope to people. And all of this has been a major step in lifting up hope. People came out to vote en masse on the 25th of February. And what drove them, especially here in Rivers State, was the hope that they could bring about some lasting change. What happened in the aftermath of that was a very, very, very disappointing state of affairs, because in Rivers State, mandates were stolen, in particular local governments, that totally just broke the hearts of people. In the last 2 weeks, we have fought to restore that kind of hope, saying to them that come out on the 11th of March. I am here as APC to stand and ensure that your vote will count, and that we will maintain the hope that we bring for you. And that's what Tonye Cole stands for hope restored.
But of course, for you to be able to achieve that, as you said, you're standing against many odds. You've got to be standing from the point of view of a united APC party. And some members of your party have been suggesting that you were foisted on them as a candidate. What's your reaction to that?
So that's an old argument. It's an argument that we had prior to 2019. Between then and now, it's been clear to everyone that this is not a foisted candidacy, but one of a very competent candidate that has much to bring to the people of Rivers State. I have proven to be different. People have seen a CV that is rich. People have seen experience come onto the table, and they have seen manifestos that are rich in people-centered projects that will lift them out of poverty and put them into a place where Rivers State can be counted again as a place of pride, a place of employment opportunities, a place of restored hope, and a place where people want to come and live and earn a living. That's what we're driving for. I've said this over and over, Charles, that Rivers State has everything that it takes to make it a country within a country. And Nigeria needs countries within countries. We need more states that act as country states, and Rivers State is able to do that.
That's a very, very interesting analysis that you've given there. Quite a hopeful one, actually. But I mean, I return to that point of your party in Rivers State, APC, which seems to be riven with all kinds of divisions. And I'm wondering, I mean, we've seen what happened with the PDP, for example. The governor in your state, who's a member of the PDP, working at cross purposes with the National Party and so on, and obviously they failed in many parts of not just Rivers State but across the South. I mean, how could you, in those circumstances of divisions, present a credible challenge to the governing PDP in the state?
Excellent. So it's not APC in the state that is divided. APC Rivers State is a united party in Rivers State. What we're seeing at the end of the day is the governor here, who has created very anti-party policies, who is hobnobbing with national APC, coming into Rivers State and working with the national to try and deliver his own candidate here. And so that's what we're seeing at the national, but it does not bother us as APC Rivers. Why is that? Because we have had a very open cross-section policy saying that this, what we are bringing, is a government of national unity, or let's say state unity in this case. Rivers State is a very diverse state. It's a state that has Igbos, a state that has Yorubas, a state that has Calabaris, a state that has Ijaws, a state that has Ogonis, and very different languages, which means that we cannot keep anyone isolated. So what we have brought is not just a united APC in Rivers State, but we have created a platform that draws in the Igbos, a platform that draws in the Yorubas, draws in different ethnic tribes that live in Rivers State. And together we have decided that we are going to go out en masse on the 11th of March as a group, a very strong united group, to remove what we have seen to be nepotism, what we have seen to be very, very selfish and greedy policies that have been very self-centered in perpetrating what we call a third term that is not allowed to stand.
Well, again, not to kind of beat a dead horse, but I mean, you say diverse. Some people would say confused, because, I mean, there are also reports alleging that the former Minister for Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, who I understand is the ostensible leader of the APC in Rivers State, voted for the PDP candidate Atiku Abubakar and therefore stands accused of anti-party activities and has been deposed as APC leader. Is that a fact?
Wow, this is news to me. So I've heard that he voted, the same person I've heard he voted for PDP, I've heard he voted for Labour, he's also been told, I've heard that he voted for APC. One person with 3 ballot sheets. You know, we should stay away from rumors and just focus. One of the things that Amechi has done this time around, prior to the, especially because he had been accused in 2019 of foistering me, bringing me, and things like that, has stepped away. He has been very silent, refused to say anything, kept away from all the brouhaha, went back to law, went to law school, and has been silent. And that silence has made a way for people to come in and say all sorts of things regarding him. The one thing that we were sure about is that we are a party, and we're party oriented, and we have stood by the party, and we have fought tooth and nail to ensure that the PDP in Rivers State that has not brought the best for Rivers State is removed from governance in this state. And to do that, we have attracted everyone. We've spoken very openly that Labour should come on board. We've spoken very openly that Accord should come on board, SDP should come on board, PDP should come on board. We have created a platform that will bring everybody on board to remove a party that has used state resources primarily to perpetuate itself in power and has used it abusively. And so these are the things that must stop.
So, I mean, looking towards Saturday, which is obviously a big day for you and a big day for the governorship polls across Nigeria, what do you see, given what happened with the presidential elections?
So first and foremost, we have appealed, we have begged, we have asked INEC that this time around, they must make sure that the beavers works at the units. The reason being that when the upload failed, it opened up all sorts of opportunities for people to begin a massive rigging exercise. We cannot allow that to happen. So what that has led to is that people have then begun to prepare for a violent election on the 11th. And this must be prevented because Rivers State had a very peaceful election. What's been happening now is that we have heard of people who have sewn military uniforms, police uniforms, to masquerade as policemen and military men. They want to hijack votes, kidnap EOs, rewrite votes. All of those things must be prevented. And so I have personally traveled, met security officials, and met many people saying and calling to them that we cannot afford to have a violent election on the 11th. Thankfully, most of the security organizations have beefed up security, have promised that they will come out en masse to ensure that Rivers State has a peaceful election. Once the 11th is peaceful and people come out to vote and their votes count and INEC uploads at the polling units, we will have a great election, and I'm looking forward to the 11th as long as those things are in place.
Well, some would say that that's a tall order, given what happened with the presidential elections, specifically in Rivers State. I mean, I expect the APC there has done some sort of a post-mortem on how that ballot went. We know that Bola Tinubu was declared the winner in the state, but the results are disputed because of violence. Even the INEC returning officer in Rivers State, Professor Charles Dias, was forced to suspend the collation of results, citing a credible threat to his life.
It's incredible, Charles. You know, it's one of the biggest challenges to Rivers State elections. We cannot always be at the forefront of everything that seems wrong. When it comes to violence, Rivers State is always quoted as being one of those states that are violent in elections. I personally have stood, talked to people, and fought to have peaceful elections in Rivers State. And once you can do that, development follows. We cannot always be seen at the forefront of rigging in Rivers State. Elections in Rivers State have always been full of controversy. And on the 25th, we saw that happen in certain areas where the results were so obviously altered that it became almost a shame and a disgrace to see such things happen. And people were very, very disenfranchised because they just felt that their mandate was taken. Now, none of these things were necessary because as a party, we had done a lot to ensure that we would win the elections without rigging. We had done a lot, and we had made sure that these things could happen. But what we saw was totally different. Now we are pushing to ensure that the 11th of March will be different. We have spoken about it. We have appealed to INEC that INEC has to stand up, raise their game, especially on the 11th. People have been heartbroken and they're looking to INEC to restore that, to redeem themselves and ensure that the pain they felt is no longer repeated.
Well, I mean, it's interesting and I have to say inspiring that in the face of all the things that you've identified as potential snags, you remain stoically optimistic. I mean, assuming the elections go well, we've got about a couple of minutes or so to go. Just tell us again why you should be chosen in preference to your other competitors, what it is that you would do, I mean, the minute you get into office, assuming you get into office.
So one of the first things that you need to do is bring all the warring factions together. Rivers State development must go beyond the term of one administration. To do that, we have to bring everybody back for a long-term developmental plan that will succeed and supersede every administration. This is very important. There are people who want to see the development of Rivers State and we must bring them back. To do so, we have to convince people who are coming back that the jobs that have fled Rivers State, of which there are millions, must come back. Factories that have left, businesses that have left, oil and gas service companies that have left, logistics companies that have left. There has been an exodus of businesses. We need to bring them back. To do that, we need to convince them that we are a government that means business, understands business, and is pro-business. And this we will do. Entrepreneurship is something that we will drive. We must create jobs in different local governments, and this is something that we're driving very, very seriously. So it's about poverty alleviation, it's about job creation, and it's about making sure that there are people-centered policies that restores the dignity of Rivers State. The civil servants, the traditional institutions, there are just too many things that have gone wrong. We must correct it, and I believe that I'm in the best position to give that confidence in correcting those things to the Rivers people.
Okay, Tonye Cole, we want to thank you very much indeed for joining us, and we wish you all the best of luck, and we also wish your competitors all the very best of luck. And Tonye Cole is the APC governorship candidate in Rivers State, and he was talking to me there from Port Harcourt. That's it for this edition of Arise Primetime. Join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja and Port Harcourt, bye-bye, and thank you for watching.